Hello, I'm Colin Hanratty from hostelworld.com, and if you want to know what's the best way to see Brazil's most famous city and what are its most intriguing neighbourhoods, go nowhere, because here are 10 things you need to know about Rio de Janeiro.
Rio de Janeiro boasts a setting unlike any other city in the world. Here you can explore a rainforest, sunbathe on golden beaches and enjoy the vibrancy of a thriving city all in the one day. Brazil's best known city is also where you will find some of the world's most celebrated attractions, and after a visit here you'll see why it's one of Latin America's most popular cities. Now, here is the first of those 10 things. Overlooking Rio de Janeiro from all angles is Christ the Redeemer, a statue of Jesus Christ that stands 130 foot tall. Located on top of a mountain known as Corcovado, it is one of the world's most famous statues.
There are 3 ways to get to Christ the Redeemer. The first is to walk. This is for the more energetic people because the trek is quite tough. But be warned, it's not very well marked, so if you're going to go that way, you should be with a local. The second is to take a taxi. This is for the lazy people out there, and obviously this is the most expensive way to get to Christ the Redeemer. The third and most conventional way to get to the statue is to take the tram.
The journey takes between 30 to 40 minutes, and once you get to the top, you may or may not want to get the customary arms out photograph. Rio's landscape is extremely unique because dotted throughout the city centre are a host of mountains. The most famous of these are the 2 brothers overlooking Leblon and Ipanema, the Sugarloaf which looms over Guanabara Bay, and the aforementioned Corcovado which is home to Christ the Redeemer.
Along with Christ the Redeemer, the Sugarloaf is Rio's other famous lookout. And while you're definitely going to visit the famous statue, a visit here is in many ways a far nicer experience. There's a lot more room, meaning the crowds don't seem so big, and the view, in my opinion, is far nicer.
Rio is where you will find 2 extremely well-known beaches. The most noteworthy of the 2 is Copacabana, which is one of the most famous beaches in the world. And while no trip to Rio is complete without checking it out, you may prefer the other of the 2 beaches, which is Ipanema, as here it isn't as hectic and the waters are cleaner.
And when you're in Ipanema, you have to call into Garota de Ipanema on the corner of Vinicius de Moraes and Prudente de Moraes, because it is here that the famous song The Girl from Ipanema was written. Saúde. If you're looking to get away from the hustle and bustle of Rio de Janeiro, the Botanic Gardens are the perfect place to do it. Covering over 130 hectares, the gardens are extremely peaceful, and as you're walking around, take a look at the plants and trees. There are over 6,000 different types here in the gardens.
Another great place to relax is around the city's lagoon, Lagoa Rodrigo de Freitas, which borders neighbourhoods including Leblon, Ipanema and Copacabana. If you feel like doing some exploring in Rio, here are some neighbourhoods you should check out. Botafogo near the Sugarloaf is a great place to visit to admire the yachts on Guanabara Bay. While in downtown Rio, you will find a mix of old and new architecture, as well as discover some of the city's museums. Ipanema has some charming tree-lined streets away from the beach, and Santa Teresa is an historical neighbourhood with colourful houses. Here you can also ride the famous tram known as Bonde, which goes there from downtown Rio.
Santa Teresa is where you'll find the top of these famous steps called Escadaria Celeron, which are named after the Chilean artist Jorge Celeron, who decorated them in the Brazilian colours. They are particularly well known recently, thanks to the video Beautiful by Snoop Dogg and Pharrell Williams. Rio has a reputation for being a dangerous city, and there's a reason for this. Unfortunately, petty crime does occur, and you might feel a little bit more nervous walking the streets here than in other cities. But Rio didn't get the Olympics for being a dangerous city. It is definitely a lot safer than it has been in recent years, particularly in touristy areas like Ipanema and Copacabana. So have your wits about you in walking the streets and try not to look too much like a tourist. Do this and your stay here in Rio de Janeiro should pass incident-free. Located right in the middle of Rio de Janeiro city centre is the Tijuca Forest, which is the largest urban forest in the world. Here you can go on hiking trails, admire waterfalls and much more. While Rio looks breathtaking from the ground, it looks even better from the sky. And the best way to get an aerial view of the city is by going hang gliding. 1, 2, 3, go! Run, run, run!
Brazil Expedition Tours operate tandem hang gliding flights, which can be booked on www.hostelworld.com/tours. And if you do decide to go on one, you can take it from me that it is something that you will never, ever forget.
All over Rio are restaurants known as churrascarias. These are grill houses where waiters circle the room carrying all different types of meat, then approach your table and ask if you want any. A great one to try is Caratau on Rua Visconde de Paraja in Ipanema, which is really good value. This is match night at the Maracanã, Brazil's most famous football stadium. 4 teams play here regularly: Botafogo, Vasco, Fluminense and Flamengo. Games are played pretty much all year round, so if you're coming to Rio, try and check one out. The atmosphere really is electric.
And if the home team scores, you won't forget the celebrations for a very long time.
So that is our 10 things you need to know about Rio de Janeiro. Hopefully this video will help you plan your trip to this breathtaking city. For a fact sheet on everything that's in this video, log on to www.hostelworld.com/videos, and for the biggest and best selection of hostels in Rio on the internet, stay on the same site.